Derby County have a huge run of fixtures heading into the November international break, and it's one for me which is going to be absolutely pivotal for John Eustace's future at Derby County Football Club. Now, there's many different questions that you may have already discussing this, but for me, there is a lot of discussion about his future already. I've seen it myself across the course of my comment sections, as well as conversations that I've had with people at the games. Now, obviously, it isn't be all and end all over the course of the next few weeks, but it certainly does lead into what you can expect from John Eustace at Derby County over the course of the next few months. Now, you can let me know your thoughts down in the comments, and if you have not done so already, let me know your thoughts down below. Hit like, hit subscribe, and turn on that notification bell. Check out the likes of Loaded, Kitbag, and NordVPN down in the description, but let's get into it. Now, Derby County have a huge set of fixtures between now and the end of the season, with 4 games at home over the course of the next 6. That's a lie, it's 4 out of the next 7, but it's a huge set of fixtures for me because yes, Derby County have a couple of tough away ties in there. You look at Sheffield United, you look at Blackburn. They're going to be tough games, they are. I know people are going to look at Sheffield United and go, well, they're in a bit of a crisis at the moment, and I don't disagree, but ultimately it is still going to be a tough fixture. Blackburn is an anniversary game, so there's going to be some huge emotion from the Blackburn players heading into that one, and the big thing is, a lot of Derby County players will know about that Blackburn anniversary and will have their own feelings about it as well. Now, obviously, you've got the Oxford United game heading our way at the weekend, but who is going to come out on top of that one? You can let me know your thoughts down below. But the important factor from these set of fixtures is the 3 home games, 4 if you want to include the one straight after the international break. You've got Derby County versus Norwich on Tuesday the 21st, Derby County versus QPR on the 25th, and Derby County versus Hull on Tuesday the 4th. And they are huge games for me. Now, the Watford game is at home on the 22nd of November, but I think decisions could have been made before then should this next few weeks not go into plan. Now, don't get me wrong, Derby County, in my opinion, they have shored up shop, definitely, over the course of the last few weeks. Obviously, to start the season, we conceded, 8 goals, 9 goals in the first 3 games, and then since then, it's just been 1s or 2s, which I think is perfectly fine. Obviously, over the course of the last few weeks, if Derby County had been able to keep clean sheets, you win those games, that's 9 points on the board, and that is where I'm sort of disappointed with the way Derby County are at the moment. I think the defensive stability that we had last season has disappeared, and I think that shows in the league position and the amount of goals that we have conceded. Now, obviously, this season, we did start with a back 4, playing the 4-2-3-1. Obviously, Corey Blackett-Taylor's injury led to Derby County moving into a 3-5-2, and ultimately, we're now at a 4-4-2 sort of vibe, in my opinion, which I don't necessarily think is the best for the players, but obviously you can let me know your thoughts on that one down in the comments. And I think that those home games are hugely important for Derby County because you look at each one of those games, and I say each one of them is winnable, but I say every game at home is winnable, and that is the problem, in my opinion. We've known Derby County over the course of the last few years for their home ground to be formidable, to be a fortress, and to be the reason why they end up doing well during a season, whereas this season, it's just not been that same sort of vibe for me. We're still yet to pick up a win at home this season. I don't think we've won in a competitive competition since back in April when it was a 2-0 victory over that of Preston North End. Now, obviously, there's going to be huge discussions to be had in regards to that of the likes of John Eustace and where he could potentially take this club forward over the course of the next few months for me. And I do believe that this set of 7 fixtures, 8 fixtures maybe? I think it's actually 6. I think this is a huge sort of statement for John Eustace. He's got to start picking up results, and realistically, if he wins all 3 home games and draws the if he wins all 3 away games and draws the home games, in my opinion, there's still going to be questions to ask because many Derby County fans want to be entertained. They want to see goals. They want to see the team performing well. And I just don't think we've seen that from Derby County yet. I think, don't get me wrong, if you haven't already, go and check out my matchday vlog from Southampton. I think that was probably our best game of the season. But ultimately, just because that's our best game of the season doesn't mean it still was good enough. And I don't believe it was good enough, in my personal opinion. I still think there's a lot of learning to do from that performance. Now, obviously, in my opinion, it's all of these things that are going to add into whether John Eustace is Derby County manager come January 1st or not. Now, you look at the performance against Southampton, 37% possession, 9 shots, 5 on target, and we created 4 big chances. We missed 3 of them. 1.11 XG from open play, which is obviously huge. And we did play, again, that 4-4-2 setup. I think David Ozo was probably the best player on the pitch that day. I think Bobby Clark, Andy Vyman, Carlton Morris and Ajimang were decent. But I think it's just one of those where I don't really know if there's a world where you can play Morris and Ajimang together. As much as people do want to see that, I just don't think it's going to work. Now, obviously, there's got to be this discussion for me because the next 3 home games, Norwich, QPR, Hull, are massive games for me. Derby County have to win at least 2 of them, in my personal opinion. Now, I don't think it's 2 or John Eustace gets sacked. I think it's 2 wins. Otherwise, the home crowd will begin to turn, because when performances aren't there and the results aren't there either, you start to have huge problems amongst the dressing room and you start to have huge problems amongst the fan base as well. We saw it with Paul Warne, and Paul Warne had a much better start to the season than John Eustace has had. I think, if I'm completely honest, if we look at the league table, John Eustace has 8 points. I think at this point last year, Derby County was sitting 7th with 12, if I remember rightly. We'd won a couple of games at home. We'd picked up a really good result, a really good set of results away from home as well, if I remember rightly. But ultimately, the downfall of Paul Warne was the performances weren't there and results weren't there either. And I think we're seeing that with John Eustace as well. Now, I'm not saying that John Eustace should be sacked. And if you have watched to this part of the video, drop a RAM emoji down in the comments or just type RAM and let me know that you've got this far, because there's a lot of people that are happy to drop comments on these videos and not actually watch what's been said. They look at the title, they look at the thumbnail, but they aren't willing to give it the time of day. And for me, there's a lot of discussions that need to be had about John Eustace and our performance so far this season. As I've mentioned in previous videos, statistically, we are arguably one of the worst teams in the league. We don't score that many goals. We concede a lot of goals. We don't create many chances, and we don't miss many chances either. But when you're not creating chances, you've got huge problems for me. And that is sort of where my sort of situation is at Derby County. Is as much as we've got one of the best conversion rates in the league, ultimately having a good conversion rate is only good if you are creating a lot of chances, and our conversion rate is very good, but in terms of the chances we're creating, it looks very, very poor. Now, there's obviously a lot of discussions that can be had in regards to the way to set up this team and who's going to be the formidable figures, and I think there's a big discussion to be had around those forwards at Derby County. You look at the likes of Ryan Brewster, Bobby Clark, you look at Carlton Morris, Patrick Ajimang. How can you fit all of these players into one team? Corey Blackett-Taylor is one set to rejoin the squad over the course of the next couple of weeks. So it's going to be interesting to see how this one does come to light and how it does set up for Derby County across the course of the next few weeks. Now, you can let me know your thoughts on this down in the comments. I personally think John Eustace has probably got maybe until the end of December to turn this around. If he doesn't, Derby County are going to be in some serious trouble. Now, the next international break is 6 games away. It starts on the 8th of November after Derby County face Blackburn away from home. Will they be able to pick up 3 points over the course of the next few games? You can let me know your thoughts on that down in the comments. If you have not done so already, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and turn on that notification bell, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye-bye, guys.